goes on my stream. So
Hold on, you mind refreshing, please, stupid phone, so I can actually go onto it and actually look at this?
alrighty, so I have the now you're gonna receive a delay, because that's the way. But I have the delay down as much as I can, but there'll probably be like maybe like a second.
Okay.
Delay.
Okay, it's an immediate down, so I don't want to hit. So I don't want to cause an echo.
All right, cool. Alrighty, so you understand squash.
Yeah.
But you're having difficulty with stretch. Alright, that is the lesson for today. Basically the way I approach stretch is stretch really depends on how fast your object is going. And basically animators call it spacing, the distance between the object moves between the frame.
Right.
And so the faster you want it to go, the more stretch it's going to have. This is basically so if I have there's many ways you can actually approach stretch, right? So if we have our sphere, like our ball right here, right, and then we have it coming down on the ground plane, if it's gonna like slam down like super Dragon Ball speed fast, right, you can really stretch it out. And the way like most of the time, the way you would do it with stretch as like a character, the amount of distance you pull out is also like half the distance pulled inwards. That's how you kind of keep volume.
So it's half. So
well, it's relatively. You want to keep the same distance. Like if I pull out the stretch. If I pull in and I elongate the ball, so it's up here and down there, so it's way up here. All right. So now we're stretching out the ball like this. There's two ways you can. There's many ways you can approach it. All right. There's one way you can approach it like, and it depends on what material that you want the ball to feel like it's made out of. Now, let's say if it's like a water balloon. You ever try to throw a water balloon at someone, and then as you throw it, it like gets caught on your fingers and the water separates into two blobs? You ever have that happen to you in a water balloon fight? Yeah.
Yeah, quite a few times.
So you can have it do that. You can have it separate into two blobs like that. So that's like two masses like trying to escape each other. You can have it just elongate, where it's just like perfect stretching out in every single way. Or you can have it all at one, on either end. And I'll explain the difference between these. So we can have it like, whoa, and most of the mass is down here. All right, basically you want to pay attention to where the mass is going. All right. So all of these, basically the key with stretching on an object is conveying where the weight of it's going. All right, so the shape that's like the water balloon splitting, all right, that really conveys two masses, two weights, and they're moving away from each other. All right, like it's like there's two, like basically two sacks of fluid inside. They're trying to stretch out each other. This also is also prevalent in if you ever seen Pink Elephants from Dumbo. there's this there's a sequence where there's these two elephants, and they're walking away from each other, and they're stretching in between each other. You know, there's two characters, and that's that part of that stretch, all right? That's where you would use that. This stretch right here would be something that you would use if you're the one where you don't have it, like the weight of the mass is equally distributed throughout all of the stretchness. I would use this if the object is traveling fast, not necessarily like falling or trying to be heavy. It's just like in motion. It just happens to be like motion blur, you know. That's where I would use like this stretch right here. I'm not trying to convey any weight. I'm just trying to convey fastness. All right, and then this stretch right here. Notice how all of it is bunched up on the end. You know, this is perfect for like, you know, like you dropping something heavy.
Right.
You know, the weight is going to slam in like a meteor impact. Meteor impacts would have like something like that, you know. It really depends. Like, you can do a lot with the stretch. It really depends on what you want to do with it and where you want the weight to go. This is not the same as like blur. It's motion blur, but it can also kind of replace like the smear frames, you know, that Arshad is kind of like against.
Yeah, he's really against that.
Yeah. The smear frames have their place, and you can. So like, it's kind of stupid in a way, but like stretching will can replace blur like smear frames. So it's like you have these animators that are too like full of themselves, and they're just like, oh no, I don't use smear frames. I just really am good at squashing and stretching. It's like, yeah, but stretching is also kind of a form of motion blur.
Yeah, I agree with that. So the one used for the squash and stretch one that Asha ended up doing would be the second one from the left.
The second one from the left. He used this one. Okay, yeah.
I'm still waiting for that delay. Like
for
that delay to...
Yeah, that.
Okay. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah. Now, this is standard. This is standard, but it goes into deeper levels because you have to think about where the weight is going and what you want to convey to it. All right. So, like, if I have a character and he's going to impact the ground pretty hard, you know, and keep in mind these are like exaggerations of the squash and stretch principle of animation, to the point like these are borderline smear frames. All right. Actual stretching and the squashing, especially if you want to remain on model, is a lot more subtle than this. These are all exaggerations. So if I have a character like a big, like, you know, that's going to impact the ground, like on his butt, let's say, then I would draw the shape where his head is up here, his body's going to impact up there. Maybe it's like a cat character, and his like paws are kind of up, and his legs are like up like this. But I have that teardrop shape, you know, and this conveys a lot of weight impact.
Right. I can definitely see the weight within that drawing that you just did, actually.
Yeah. So, another form of stretching is like a surprised character. Where is... Okay, there you go. So another example where like the squash and stretch would come into play is like if you're making a surprised character. So if we have a character and he has a big nose and he's like his eyes are over here. All right. And then maybe he then you want him to be like, you know, like whoa. So we have the anticipation frames, which you will have your squash. All right. So like that, and then he goes, you know, as that goes down. Maybe his lips kind of purl like that. All right, so we have the anticipation frame, and then we have the it pops into the surprise frame, which would be an example of your stretch frame. So we can do that right now.
This looks like the character's drawing from Eric Goldberg's book, that animation Crash Course.
I'm just doing generic character with big nose. It's really easy to draw.
I know.
You know, like
it just made me think of that book for some reason.
Let's see. Yeah, let's have his lip kind of come out like that. So. So now we have, you know, so he blinks and whoa, and then maybe goes back down to his normal position.
Yeah, I can definitely see the squash and stretch apply to that.
And then we could do the next frame, since this is a keyframe. What we can do is that because he'll pop from here to here in like a single frame, like here to here, what you want to do is you want to think about that the weight of his head and the weight of everything, it moves very, very fast from here to here. So the next, that's a lot of inertia. That's a lot of inertia that's going on. And, you know, you think about physics and it wants to continue going that, you know, it's like a rubber band. It kind of stretches out a little bit. So what we're going to get into is called, what animators call it, overshoot, which is basically just a little bit more stretching. So you kind of like ease into it. So we just slightly more exaggerating overshoot. And this would be called the extreme of a keyframe. And then maybe his lips are really open, his eyes are, you know, really wide, like that. Whoa! Whoa! And then you want to have him, then from here to here. This is basically a keyframe. Here's your extreme, and then here's your next keyframe. So then you can have like an interesting breakdown if you want like something interesting to happen in between. So we can have that. Maybe he kind of goes this way a little bit, and he rotates.
Oh, got a little head turn going there too.
Yeah, and then to break down the breakdown even more, maybe the nose is going to make a motion. The tip. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the track of the nose, and you remember the animation of arcs, the animation principles of always tracking your arcs. So basically, in my head, what I filled out, we have. The tip of his nose here, I don't know if you can see it on the stream, there's an onion skin. Tip of his nose here on the previous frame. Tip of his nose here on the frame that I just drew. And then it's got to end up the tip of the nose back here. So what we could do is we can have the nose kind of go like that, like in a motion that's kind of like this.
Oh, okay, I see it.
All right. So the next frame I'm going to draw with his nose down here. So that's what I'm going to do. And actually, to help me along, I'm just going to leave a little dot right there that I'm going to delete later, basically. And so like that. There's his nose, and then we can have his squash frame like that. He's looking down, so his nose is going to cover his mouth a little bit. But we're going to have this like little lip like down there. And then maybe his eyes are going to be closed, but kind of like squinty. So, whoa. So it's like he's doing a double take. Whoa. All right. So basically from there, it's just your easing principles. Your ease in and ease out principles. So now I'm just going to do a halfway in between there, but I have to keep in track of his nose. So his nose is going to dip a little bit more before it goes up. So it's going to be like down here. Whoops.
In that case, it's a rule of halves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. See, like, I just want to make perfectly clear. Like, some of the stuff I am understanding, like some of the stuff I am getting, it's just like this stretch portion I was having issues with.
To better illustrate the squash and stretch, all right, sometimes I whip out like the 3D animation, all right, and you can really understand the squash and stretch with 3D animation.
3D animation?
Yes. I know our shot is like really against 3D animation, but for a teaching tools for learning the principles of animation, you can really understand squash and stretch a little bit better. All right, so if I have a ball right here, all right, okay. So let's I can apply, oops, that's isolation, wrong hotkey. I can apply the stretch modifier on this thing. All right, and basically we have our squash and stretch right here. Woo, wee, woo. All right. So if I wanted to make this thing bounce, I can put on my keyframe right here. Let's have it bounce every 20. So I'm gonna shrink my timeline real quick. And then I'm gonna go to my front view and raise it up here. So basically what we have now is we have this, all right? And that's not really a good bouncing ball right now. So what we need to do is we need to, it's basically its spacing is wrong. If we look at the way it tracks out each one of these, I don't know if this is showing up on stream, but there's like these white ticks right here. And you can see the way the frames are. All right. Now in 3D animation, there's like this graph editor that you have to open up, and basically this is like your timing chart if it was flipped sideways.
Holy crap! What the hell?
Yeah, it's just ignore it. I'm just gonna fix the spacing on everything, make it bounce like an actual ball. That you just have to switch the tangents around. Just bear with me a bit. This is the way 3D animation works. Okay, so now we basically have this, all right? So boing, 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 but it's not really quite up to satisfaction right now. All right, it doesn't, as you notice, it's not really a nice parabola that we have going on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it a really nice parabola. So we're gonna add a keyframe here, add a keyframe here. Move that up. Move that up. All right, so now we have a nice looking parabola going on. Now it should act more like a ball, like boing, boing. Ooh, it pauses a little bit up there. I don't like that pause, so we're just gonna raise it up a little bit. Move that down a little bit.
Yeah, I actually saw the pause too.
Yeah, yeah.
Thankfully, I actually like I actually notice things like that too, like when I'm animating the bouncing ball.
Boing, boing. Still that pause right there.
I've never seen a 3D program put in use before though. Also, will this be archived and saved?
I can unlist it.
If you wouldn't mind, just for
Yeah,
a
yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Because this will be really good to go back and, you know,
Boing,
and look at.
All right, so there we go. We got a nice ball. All right, but right now it looks like it's really it's really solid. All right, it's not really like, it doesn't feel cartoony. It doesn't have any squash and stretch on it right now. So what we can do is we can add that. All right, so at the very bottom, we can have I'm going to add a new modifier to make it easier for me, so I don't have to remove the ball, like move the ball everywhere.
Right.
So I'm just going to add another stretch modifier, and I have to move the center point down here. This is something that you have to do in 3D that you don't have to do in 2D. Okay, here we go. So basically when the ball's on the ground, I'm going to make it squash. Whoops. Hey, buddy, I don't want you to do that right now. Okay, squash. All right. And then when it's up in the air, I don't need the squash anymore, so this squash modifier is now 0, all right? But we need it, since it's moving fast, we need it to stretch. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have it stretch up here, all right? So boing, and then when it gets up to the top, that's when it actually slows down, so we can have it 0, all right? So boing, and then as it's going down again, at frame 19, we can have it stretch, because it's going to be bouncing, so it's going to be falling pretty fast as it goes down. At the very bottom, we don't need it stretching anymore. We actually need it squashing again. So let's go squash that thing. And so now we have boing, boing. Ooh, hey. Hey, buddy. I thought you were at 0. What do you, oh. I have to add a 0 keyframe for the squash. There we go. So we have boing, boing. Hey. So that's what we got going on. So what you can do and make it a little bit better, I'm going to actually take the squash, the stretch that we have going on when it goes up, and I'm going to make it fall off faster. So here's our curve for our stretch when it's going around. Hey.
I never even considered to look at 3D, like the squash and stretch. That's a damn good
Boing,
idea.
boing, boing. So now it's a little bit better. Boing, boing, boing. So what I always like to do, up here is that as it's slowing down right up here, all right, you want to think about the back end of the ball is gonna want to continue on moving upwards while the top of the ball already is like done reaching its top point, and so it's just ever so slightly. It's gonna squash up at the top. So what you can do is that you can add a little extra squash up here as the ball comes up. Oops, hang on, I did that wrong. I did the wrong steps. I didn't have my key filters on. Modifiers, okay. Ever so slightly at the top, you can squash the ball just a little bit slightly, and it adds just a little bit more life to it if it's not that sudden. So, wing, wing. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me do that over again. There. Wing, wing. So it squashes a little bit more at the top.
Oh yeah, I see it. It's like, yeah, it's like it slowly squashes in like as it reaches the top.
Yeah, it's like this adds a little bit more life to the ball, as if someone's like tucking their legs into their chest, from you know, from when they're jumping over things. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's basically squash and stretch. So between, if we go back to the face, between here and here, you're just basically adding in your you know, your halves, so you can.
I appreciate you showing this to me, man. I really do.
And if you want to sign up for the animation library,
that's not nice. I knew you was going that direction. Don't do that.
We have lifetime membership.
He's the real damn deal, though.
Yeah, he is the real damn deal. But yeah, that's a different way to, I mean, I haven't seen his lesson on squash and stretch. I'd love to see his approach to it.
Oh shit, Tetro was in there.
What?
Hey, Tetro.
Tetro's in the chat.
Oh shit. But yeah, seriously, I appreciate you like taking the time out and like going over this for me.
Yeah, no problem.
I really want to get this, and I really want to get this fucking curse done, over and done with, so I can move on to the next part.
I'm just filling out the in-betweens.
Definitely gonna go over this video again, and I'm gonna.
Damn, this character is really easy to animate. Why don't I design characters to look like this more instead of freaking Ricky Berwick that takes forever to animate? No, you know what takes forever to animate? His cat. His cat takes forever to animate.
Oh, I thought it was like a drawing the Daiki Makura.
No, that cat that he that I've designed, it's terrible animation. It's terrible for character animation. It's like way too many stripes, way too many little details.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why like 2D characters aren't really that detailed. I ended up drawing Moana when I was visiting my family like about a week and a half ago. Or was that last week? That was last week. When I was visiting them last week, I said I will never try that shit again, doing that in 2D.
Now, actually, I would add more in-betweens to make it more smooth. This is all super fast. Yeah.
I just know how to go up to here. Like that. I might actually do to use the arc like as like a reference towards the volumes. I'm sitting here, actually playing around with brush tool in my. Been sitting down, like really trying to get this. It's like I've been off, not counting that Saturday when I come back into town.
I'm just adding the in-betweens here.
I don't know if this still works. That's not possible. Just trying to do a screenshot.
Let's guess what we got here. So it's a lot slower. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Whoa! Animation. Where is it? Thing. Okay, these aren't animated, but I'm just trying to draw an example.
What's really fun to do, okay? This is what you can do. This is a really fun thing to do, okay? This is called a stagger. I don't know if you've ever gotten to this. What you can do with a stagger is that you label your frames. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so basically with the stagger, you have every other frame. So let's do this. Basically, you take these two frames and you have them swap places. So then you take the next two frames and you have them swap places. Then you take the next two frames and you have them swap places. So basically, it goes from like 1, then you have 3, then you have 2, then you have 2, then you have 5, then you have 4, and then 7 and 6. So basically, we're gonna take 2. What's up?
Just remember, should end in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I'm just giving.
Hey, move.
Yes, I see.
We're gonna take 2 and we're gonna put it into place of 1. Then we're gonna delete that 2. Then we're gonna take 4 and we're gonna put it into the place of where 3 should be. All right, and delete that. So then we add. So what's gonna do? It's gonna make him go like boing, like a spring does. So boing, 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 boing. See that? Boing, boing.
Yeah, I noticed. It's
Yeah, it's called a stagger.
I definitely would like to try a stagger. At least
Yeah, staggers
one
are
of
fun.
these days. Damn, that actually does sound like a lot of fun to do.
Okay, so that's pretty much
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna.
yeah, that's how you do staggering. A little off topic, but are you going to keep these streams for behind-the-scenes footage when Ricky Burke animation's done? Probably not. I just got done deleting a whole bunch of them. Alrighty. Alright, so then applying all those squash and stretch animations, you can have a nice oh, if you basically you take the squash and stretch animation principle to the extreme, you can get really weird stuff like what's in pony stock. That is me taking the squash and stretch principle to the extreme. Here we go, like this. So, if we go back and dissect this this scene right here that you just saw, basically, let me get rid of. Okay, so now it's in full frame. Are you still watching?
That is a funny fucking frame.
Yeah, we get some weird drawings in this one.
That is a funny damn frame.
Basically, what you get is when you're paying attention to weight, the impact. I wanted this impact to be very, very abrupt and feel very, very hard. But the problem is that visually, I only had like. Oops. I only had this amount of space to work with. All right, that's not a lot of screen space to work with. Having his head slam into the stage. So basically, we get into squash and stretch to the extreme. All right. So basically, when he collapses, all right, we got 2 frames when he collapses. So basically his head goes down in 1 frame. Alright, so 1, boom. And there's your squash right there. And this happens in the course of 1 frame. So in order to guide the audience so it doesn't look like he pops into the down position, I had to make sure visually there was like a clue to let the audience's eyes know, like, oh, this is a motion thing. So that's why I have the stretching of the eyeballs, the stretching of the ear, the stretching of his horn, and basically everything that I could stretch. Like, here's his chest cavity down here, his shoulders are right there, but his stomach area is being stretched because the butt, all right, the butt area of the pony is being yanked this way as it's being like, you ever been in the back of a roller coaster, as it goes over the hill? If you're in the very back, you get yanked over the top of the hill, and that's basically what the butt is doing. It's lagging behind. So, and then it smashes in, all right? So next frame smashes into the ground, and we basically have a flat line, all right? That's how I get the impact to be so grand, and then we have him pop back up again. Boop. And basically that's his last you know, his butt pops back up, and then we get into a technique called settling. All right, where his basically you have motion settle into its final position. You know, like you ease into its final position. That's what I make his hair do. So his tail flops over, his hair kind of settles in, and basically lets, you know, it's a visual representation of where it just came from, right? Sam Bertan said, what about bone structure? This is Eurobeat, the character Eurobeat. In his model sheet, he doesn't really have bone structure. He's allowed a lot of cheats because he's supposed to be very fluffy and dumb and just like happy, but just like he's basically like you know, handicapped, mentally handicapped.
Right.
So anyways, yeah. And then we get into stretching for when he's going back up, which you get some really weird frames going on there. So he basically claps his hooves together, and then he's going to do like a backstroke as he swims upwards, like basically like, you know, scuttling himself upwards to the sitting position. But I figured since his hooves, you know, since he has horse hooves, and the stage is made of like wood, like maybe polished wood or whatever, he doesn't have much grip. So he's like, as he's pushing himself up, his feet are sliding. So that's what happens. If you watch this hoof go there, it pushes right there, lands, and then it will have one frame of pushing and then a giant frame of pushing. So it'd be like it pushes and then push, and then it lifts off. So that's and then his legs go back and forth like that a lot. So that's his right hoof. His right hoof goes all the way back, slams on the ground. We have one motion, and then lots of motion, and then by the time his other hoof is down, like this, his right hoof is in the air, his other hoof is gonna slam on the ground, so his other hoof slams on the ground, and then we have little bit of motion, lots of motion, and then it's up and off into the air. His next hoof is on the ground, so it's a little bit of motion, lots of motion, and he's basically got his head up, not his head, his body cavity up, but his head is lagging behind. The reason why I have his head lag behind is because there's so much going on in motionally and graphically in this motion right here. The camera's moving, all of his body parts are moving. I need something static in the middle of the frame, so the audience could have something solid to latch onto, so everything doesn't seem as chaotic as it's going on. So so it doesn't just become like a giant jumbled mess. So basically, if I circle this part of the frame, his head is going to remain in that part of the frame right there until the very end, when it snaps upwards. And then, because of that fast motion, his weight of his head is going to carry him backwards, and he's gonna catch himself. So he's going backwards. He's like, whoa! And then he goes into like a settle right here, and then the joke of this with the shot, it's contrast between the two, between all of this motion at the beginning of the shot, and now he barely moves. And that's what makes this shot funny, is because of the stark contrast between everything. Like, up until this point, he was just a very ugly-looking character. Now I drew him, like, really subtle, and he's just like, Luna. And he's, yes, Court.
Like, don't worry, I got this.
Yeah, and then he goes in. Yeah. So yeah, it's a mix. It's a, that's way you can. So we can do a lot. These characters are more solidly drawn because that's what I tried to keep them. I tried to keep them more solid. Meanwhile, the red one was a lot of fun because you could just do pretty much anything you want with him. So look at his neck stretch out. He's like, blah, blah. Alright, and then
going to perform now.
That red one's really messing with him.
yeah, and then he is like, so shit. What happened to my pen? My pen just left. Oh, there it is.
Oh, what do you mean your pen just left?
It just rolled away from me. And on a black table, it's kind of hard to find a black pen.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
I got it now. So yeah, that's you know, that's mastering the squash and stretch and then taking it to the extreme. I guess the other extreme that you can take a stretch is where you literally just twist the character into oblivion. Which, oh, Hang Pony Animator, what's up? Or is it Huang?
Oh, you know what it is?
It's this one where you, you know, just take the character and stretch to the extreme. So, yeah.
That cool cat was derpy.
This was really hard to draw because I had to keep track of all the facial features. Where, like, I was drawing the frames of, like, where is his eyes now? How many times is his eyes going around? Because you know, he still has only one tongue. He still has only 2 eyes. The only thing that changes on his model is that the number of teeth that he has. I just grew the number of teeth because I don't want to track all of it.
I couldn't imagine how much of a nightmare it was to animate that.
It was fun.
That's some complicated animation right there.
And then this frame, I wanted it to be so symbolic. It's like, this film is so full of itself. It has its head so up its own ass that it tries to be so symbolic. So, like, at the beginning of the shot, Cool Cat is in the fetal position, and then he's like born. He's like born into the internet. He's just like, you know, and then he gets immediately crucified. It's so stupid. There it is.
It's funny, yo.
Let's actually get some work done on the Ricky Berwick one, the cat character. All right. So yeah, that was a squash and stretch lesson.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is this essentials that you have, like Toonboom Essentials?
Toonboom Studio 4.5 came out in like 2008.
Oh wow, that's a really old version.
Yep.
Wonder if I can get my hands on that.
Do you have Windows 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't work on your system. Sorry.
Crap. Yeah, I was about to say, how much more did you actually have with the Ricky Berwick thing? Or do you still have?
I've got
frame
quite a bit
types
of ways
and
to go. It's gonna be a little bit harder because I'm trying to focus on like losing some weight. And so I've got this new like workout schedule that, and with my job and everything,
wow.
it's really shrinking my time.
Great, then I feel even worse asking for your help.
Yeah, whatever. I just gotta work through it. I can't hear you. Hang on, I got music playing. What's up?
Oh, I was saying, at least you don't have to deal with the blossom begging for anymore.
Wait, what again?
The blossom pillow.
Oh yeah. That wasn't that hard.
I was saying you don't have to deal with it anymore.
Oh, I was hamming that up with me drawing it. I knew if I portrayed that it was like a terrible thing for me to draw, that people in the chat would like it. Sense of entertainment to this stream that I try to keep up.
Okay, can I just not have Flash? I have Discord in the damn call.
Someone in the chat is like, all I've got is Photoshop and After Effects. Dude, you could totally animate with that. If you got Photoshop and After Effects, you can actually download a free Photoshop extension that unlocks it into an animation program with a timeline and everything. And you got After Effects, dude. Just export your drawings out into a sequence, and you can put them together in After Effects.
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah, no, I use After Effects all the time to compile animations. Actually, like, After Effects is how I get all my cool, like, it looking really cool.
Okay, so let's do this then. While you work on the Ricky Burry thing, I'm definitely gonna keep. Well, I'm gonna work on working on a bouncing ball at the moment, and I'll show it to you, see if I actually understood this lesson really well. Because
I'm telling you right now, the bouncing ball lesson is one of the hardest lessons to get done, because you know, to pass, it is probably one of the biggest hurdles, because everything builds off of it.
Right.
And it's so, you know, it's normally like the first thing that you're doing. It's very difficult for, I mean, you think like, oh, how hard is a ball to animate? It's just like, pretty hard.
Yeah, Ashe wasn't kidding when he said that's the most intimidating thing in the world to him.
Yeah.
It really is unforgiving.
I mean, if I'm animating a bouncing ball with his head right now, with this cat's head, like, everything builds off of the bouncing ball. It's so important.
Right, hell, even the butt jiggle stuff that you do, that's squash and stretch right there.
Yeah.
That's actually another reason why I really want to get that down. You know, I honestly should just look at GIFs like girls twerking and just copy the butt movement.
No.
I'd get the squash and stretch a lot faster. I'm joking.
I mean, yeah.
That wouldn't help.
But I definitely do want to animate like Princess Peach just twerking to that one song that I was playing earlier, where it's like the Princess Peach theme, but with "Shake that ass, let me see what you got."
Let me see what you got.
Take that ass, bitch. Let me see what you got.
Well, hell, Nintendo has been.
Dude, I'm so excited for Mario Odyssey. Like, that looks...
Are you kidding me?
What?
I am fucking stoked for that.
I know. Like, well... Because I've been listening to, like, the Mario Galaxy soundtracks, and I'm just like... And I remember, like, I never finished Mario Galaxy.
Why not?
Well, because I went away from college and I left the Wii at my parents' place.
Oh.
And then my sister took it. Like my stepsister has the Wii now, and so I never really got around to finishing it. But I remember it being so good.
Yeah, Galaxy 2 was a fucking blast. I actually played that one first.
I mean, I know Nintendo, they bring their A game when... I mean, they mostly bring their A... Compared to American companies, they bring their A game all the time, but they really do bring their A game on every Zelda installment and every Mario installment.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Like, Mario... Like, Zelda, they try to make it like their art. Like, this game is gonna be art. And then every Mario installment, they're like, this game is gonna be fun. This game is gonna try a new mechanic, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking to see what it can actually do for like the whole like hat mechanic.
I think it's gonna function a lot like Space Station Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that definitely could work. We'll see. There's still a lot of potential for what it can and can't do. Just gotta wait till the game comes out. I definitely gotta get me a Switch by then. Not even joking. Like once I do get squashed and stretched down, like quickly, I honestly wouldn't mind like doing a few like gifs of girls just like having their butts move and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, I've actually always wanted to do that.
Dude, animating butts is awesome. I love animating butts.
It's a lot of fun. Needs more jiggle physics.
Yeah.
Come on, anime, step your shit up.
What do you think our shot is? Like, if you watch an artist, depending on what they spend the most time on, that's almost like their kink.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty fair to say. Oh well, that's gonna be a lot of fun. Once I get all this shit down, it'll definitely be worth it.
No, because I wonder what's our shot. Like, I have to watch our shot draw a little bit more and see if I can pick out like what his thing is.
I've noticed that. Let's see. I mean, he's definitely into Disney girls. That's for certain.
Oh no, he's totally a Disney fanboy. It's so funny. That's why it's so important to like who you're learning from to be
right.
Like multiple different sources.
Do you think it would be bad, like, for someone to just stick to one specific style?
Yes, especially if they don't learn realistic anatomy. They don't understand anatomy. And when I say understand anatomy, which, I mean, and I'm guilty of this, knowing the shape of every single bone in your body, alright, well, that's definitely not a bone, and why it connects that way, like, where how the shapes, the sockets, how they rub against together. Also, where the tendons connect over the bones, and where the muscles begin, like how the muscles overlap and how they connect, like where they connect on the bones. That's something super important to learn. And then not even just with that, like all other, you know, different creatures.
I know that Asha was planning on. He was talking about making an anatomy course of his own, like for the library, sometime down the road.
Dude, I'd totally be down for that.
Yeah.
Cause like I love watching Proco, the guy who teaches anatomy on YouTube.
Yeah.
But sometimes his lessons are kind of like meh. He kind of wants you to pay for his full-blown class and stuff like that, which I haven't done yet because they're a little steeper. But yeah, also Heavy Flare brings up a point. Knowing the difference between guy and girl anatomy.
Yeah, that's really important.
And
too.
we're not talking about the peener and the vajayjay. We're talking about the actual shapes of the hips and the rib cage and everything.
Well, duh, I know that. But you're probably directing that more so to the string.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, never know. That's what drawing rule 34 is for. I've actually done like 2 of them, it was kind of fun actually.
All the lewd art that I draw is all like jokingly lewd, and its whole role is just to make the other person that's receiving it go like, "Oh, dude, like what the fuck? What the hell, man?" And I'm just like, hee hee hee.
Yeah, just getting a good laugh out of that.
Yeah, it's all like troll art. So it's just absolutely disgusting.
I mean, technically, like drawing nude poses is a lot easier than drawing one with clothes. I mean, granted, if you know the anatomy. Well, the human body is a work of art too, Deborah. That's why so many people drew it back in the day. Hell, they still draw it now.
Well, the reason why it's important to draw the human form, all right, is that our brains are hardwired to recognize every individual flaw in a human, in another person. So your margin of error that you have is the smallest on drawing a person, like the likeness of a person, where if they look at your drawing, they know exactly who it is.
Right.
The reason why it's important to draw it because it forces you to really know what you're doing. And plus, most of the characters that you're going to be animating are human form. With animal...
Yeah.
Especially if you're, you know, animating all the furries and stuff. It's a human form with an animal head.
Yeah, and a tail for the behind. That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That actually could be some good money for me. Like, I'm actually debating about like learning how to do that so I can get commissions and shit, because I definitely want to get a much better tablet, but I need the money for it, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
What was you gonna say?
Oh shit, so Muskie War Official said, I used to animate in PowerPoint. Dude, like, me too! I used to have in PowerPoint where I would set the automatic flip through the next slide at 0, and so it would flip through the slides like super fast. And so I always had that at the beginning of like my presentations for class in like high school. That had nothing to do with the presentation at all. So my PowerPoint projects were just like massive.
Yeah, that's true, Kappa.
Dude, you can use Windows Explorer as an animating program. Watch. So what do you do? Yeah, watch. So you basically have your all your frames in here, all right? Then you turn it to extra large icons. You turn it down so it's just a film strip like there, and now you just hold the down key. And wait, and come on. Okay, so now hold the down key. Whee! Now it animates. Just record that shit.
Oh yeah. Holy shit.
There you go. Windows Explorer as an animation program.
That is cool as fuck.
We can do it in reverse. Woo!
Damn, that is cool as shit. So, 13. No.
This is, I feel like you know everything about animation. No, I don't know everything about animation. I try to learn as much as I can, though.
Yeah, it's still like amazing to me, like how good you are in animation, and you still don't know everything. Yeah, that one is 17.
I think after this project, I am gonna go back to basics, though. Really hone in my basics a little bit more. Cause you always gotta do your, you know, like all the really good animators and all of the really good artists that I see, they have very, very much respect for the fundamentals, and they're always practicing them.
But yeah, definitely have to respect the basics. That's actually one, like, I'm really glad that he actually did do the basic series. You know, that he's doing it.
Yeah.
Really good, especially for me, because there was a lot of stuff I didn't really know. Just gotta go. fuck? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I got the balance right. At least it looks good to me. Yeah, that's not too bad. Actually, do you want to know who I really have respect? Really have respect for, like the flip animated, like fucking Kiki flip.
Oh yeah, dude, that guy follows me on Twitter. He's like,
holy shit.
Yeah, he's awesome. I don't know why. I don't post much art often. It's mostly just like my dog.
Sandy Poopy.
Oh, people told me they like when I post videos of my dog, so I'm like, oh, okay. She apparently is being very, very naughty because she's like cannot deal with me being gone at night in this new exercise routine. She just like curls up on the floor and starts like barking and crying. And then when my girlfriend like goes to comfort her, she's just like, "Get away from me!" So it's like all the worst traits of someone who's just like being emotional, like someone who's just like so pathetic and emotional. Like they're just like, "Ah, ah, get away from me!"
That's just how it is. But then again, dogs are very clinky to be picky.
Well, she's part Chow, and that's her Chow coming out. Like Chows are very much one person dog. Like they attach to one person and that's their person.
Time when it resets. Do you think it's silly that a game of all things got me into animation to begin with?
No.
I don't know why.
Oh, Brony, man. Called out by Jonathan. Ouch.
Jesus. That's
brutal, man. Brutal. Oof.
Oh, I mean, honestly, it's to the point as far as like YouTube goes.
Ah, Jaden Squirrel, what's up?
The whole like.
I remember you from yesterday.
The whole liking, comments, and subscribing thing seems too needy. I think it honestly, if your content,
it feels like if
they'll subscribe.
It feels like it's to me it just, especially coming from vloggers, it just feels so fake. So I actually checked out Colossus Clown's content a little bit, and I want to watch more because he's reviewing YouTubers, but he's like, let's gonna pretend that all YouTubers are cyborgs and they're all like electric programming and chips, and then so then he shows vloggers, and there's like, here's a glitch in this model. They seem to talk about not things that don't actually have any substance to them. And I was just like, oh my god, this is a funny take on commenting on stuff.
Hey Tetro, what did AMB do for the second stream?
Ursula.
I didn't understand what a map was until Esperoba explained it to me. It's like a collab. It's like another word for collab.
Yeah, it's a type of collab though.
Yeah,
it's a collab with a lot more freedom. But it normally has something to do with like animating to a particular song. It's not like the old school Newgrounds collabs like Nintendo, right, where it's like where each animator handles like a skit.
Right. Then that was my mentality going into it. I'm like, is this a collab like that? I mean, now I know it's not, but
yeah, a map is like a very particular type of collab.
Oh, okay.
Where there's not really much collaboration between artists and animators. There's no like meetings, there's no like communication between, like, I don't even know all of the people who were on like the map, the Crown Prince map. Like, I haven't even talked to them. So it's basically still each animator is off on their own animating their particular part.
Right.
Where a collaboration, like an actual collab, like what I did with the Roasting of Pimations between me, Vim Homeless, and Speedo Sausage, we actually got into a meeting and we actually discussed what the goal is and what needed to be done.
I'm kind of curious what AMB actually shows. Character faces in different ages. Oh wow.
Oh, I'll definitely check that out later.
See, that's the thing. YouTube is like really screwed as far as like giving notifications when someone like goes streaming. Sometimes I'll have to just look up, like just to open up the YouTube app and just see if it's live. And the majority of the time, I never catch the start of it. That's not anybody's fault here. That's YouTube's fault. And again, YouTube is a bunch of idiots anyways. Now we're going to try to apply the squash and stretch to this. So use chance 2 frames for the squash, which will be 13. Yeah, stupid frames. Yep, I did.
Timed up?
Maybe it's fine.
Not yet, but I mean, it's almost to me. Who made this router?
What's up?
I'm assuming he made the router.
Oh, why?
Because I'm changing our Wi-Fi into a Nintendo site.
Oh, okay.
So I can get Nintendo DLC. Or else I would have to travel to New York to go to the Nintendo store.
Oh.
Oh, that's terrible. Probably have to deal with the damn turnpike. Or however you guys would get up there.
Oh, we'd just take the train in. But we'd have to transfer at New Jersey.
Oh. I don't drive to New York. Instead, you all just like, take the trains and stuff. This part. That's fine. I gotta have to clean this up anyway, so I don't like too much. Oh no, not.
That's too slow.
Wait, is that him? Is that Ricky acting like approaching the enemies?
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, that is a derpy fucking run animation.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. It was a fun one to do. Look at the duplication.
Steal other people's content and make like compilation videos like everybody else does.
What?
Trust me, I don't like it either, PD, but that's like one of the main ways people get views nowadays.
Oh, YouTube? Oh yeah, the compilation things, yeah. Or they stream content that's not theirs, and give shoutouts for donations in the super chat. I don't. A lot of it's shady and disgusting when you know what they're doing. I feel like, to me, like I feel like I'm one of those old veteran actors. I get those washed out actors in Hollywood that are they've made their dues and they're just like they just see the industry for how shitty it is and they're just like like the one squirrel in Animaniacs, Slappy the squirrel.
Enough with the singing already.
Enough with the singing. That was a fantastic character. I loved it.
That whole show was incredible.
Oh, I know, right?
Also,
Well,
like silly cartoons goes. I don't think anything will ever beat it.
I think I have to end my stream for tonight because, dude, I'm getting tired. I gotta get up at 6 tomorrow, so.
Oh jeez, after. I appreciate you helping me out though.
Yeah, no
Please
problem.
Leave this thing available so I can look at it again.
Yeah. Let's go raid somebody. Oh shit. I don't think we've raided this person before.
Raid who?
We're gonna raid Shoelazy. So everyone go.
Take it, Tetro.
Spam needs more Pikachus. Alright, bye everyone.
Signature.
One face forward.
Oh, this okay. This page. No thanks.
Alright, bye.